has been given to me by this wonderful forum which we have got together, Next Advisors, is that customer acquisition. So that we need to acquire customer. And when I went through that topic, that customer acquisition, I was just thinking that I am hearing consistently for this topic of customer acquisition, maybe for the last 17 years, since the time I have started my career. And why this over-obsession about acquiring customer? Sorry, I have not used that word mistakenly by using the word over-obsession about acquiring customers. Because I'll just try to flip this word and into a very different context. How many kids do you have? Any one of? How many kids do you have? How many? Chilana Sahab? 3. Okay. So Chilana Sahab has 3. Why not 30? Why doesn't agree? Okay. So anybody is there in this room who doesn't agree with that gentleman? That why doesn't agree? Sometimes somebody can say that, I wanted that, but my wife was not, my wife was saying that I was not agreed. But we are having, on an average, 2-3 kids. I haven't seen a person till this time, other than reading in the newspaper, who is having 10, 15, and 20 kids. And what is the reason for that? Why don't you have 20, 30 kids? What is the reason for that? What is the reason? So I will tell you, I was sitting with 20 reasonably senior people of Aditya Birla Group for the last 4 days. And I asked this question again and again and again, maybe in a slightly different context. And I was talking about their money. That how many kids do you have? And they said 1 or 2. I said, why not 10? And they said, no, it's very difficult to manage because kids are big responsibility. Kids are a damn big responsibility. The moment you have it, then you need to provide for their education, medical, good parenting, blah, 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 blah. And it's a big, big responsibility. And that's why we limit the number of kids which you have. Why don't you think the same thing about our customers? That we are over-obsessed of acquiring more and more and more customers. And I was just hearing when Pankaj was saying that human to product and not human to human. What are we thinking about those customers? As a product? We are acquiring those customers like a product? We're just living into our profile? So why? Why don't we have the customers only to an extent till the time we have a capacity to serve them? We have a capacity to educate them. We have a capacity to make their life better and richer. And I'm pretty sure that most of the time when we go and acquire customers, sometime down the line, so excitement is only till the time we don't go and acquire. Once the customer is in our fold, my first question to you is, how many of us know our customer? And the moment I'll say, you know your customer, say, I know my customer. You know his name. What about his family background? What about his preferences for investments? How many of your customers are customers for multi-product? So, no, I have given him HDFC Top 200, Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity, IDC Premier Equity. I'm not talking about that. How many customers are really multi-product customer? And multi-product customers are those customers who are getting the product which they need. And what do they need? Do they need only mutual fund? Or they need only equity funds? Or do they need cash and debt also? Do they need medical insurance? Do they need house insurance? Do they need vehicle insurance? And there may be some things which are inconvenient for you to do. But have you ever thought about that? So how many customers do we know? What do we know about our customer is the second thing. And third and the most important thing, if we know our customer and we know enough, what have we done with that information? Because till the time we are not going to do something with that information, it is not worthwhile. So 15 years back, I have an advisor and IFA. 15 years back, my requirements were different. Until this year, I'm using or doing all my investment in his code. But for the last 3 years, I'm feeling that the requirements which are of mine, he is not looking at that, or he is not sensitive enough to that. So what do you think, that only your AUM grows? No, the profile of your customers grows. The profile of your existing customer keeps on changing. So what is my requirement, a very crucial requirement as of today? One of my very crucial requirements as of today is that I need somebody who can give me a will. I need somebody who can plan my succession. I need somebody who can give me that facility. And if he is not providing that, what is going to change? My requirement? What is going to change? My requirement? No, my requirement is not going to change. What is going to change? My advisor. So what is better? To try to change myself, or not to serve me, or keep on updating, or keep on giving me. So that will go when I will start aligning from something which my customer wants. And not only next customer wants, but my existing customers keeps on changing their profile. And the moment their age keeps on changing, their income level keeps on changing, their profile keeps on changing, then you have to change, or you have to update ourselves. So more than the acquiring new customer, you keep on acquiring new needs of your customer. And that is most crucial. If I go to the next thing, what is the biggest challenge in acquiring new customer? So I want to acquire new customer. What is the success rate of acquiring new customer? Pankaj was mentioning one data, and I think this is the one data which I didn't need to refer, and it has remained consistent for the last 15 years. And what is that? The contribution of household savings into mutual fund industry. What is it? What is the percentage? 5%? Now, if you go to retail customer, which is relevant for you and me, it is less than 2.5%. So if you are talking about 2.5%, consistently, the Indian GDP kept on growing, their money keep on growing, their income keep on growing, but their average allocation has not grown beyond 2.5%. What is the reason for that? What is the single biggest reason for that? So we say, we are selling the products which we want to sell, or we are selling the product which customer wants, or we started understanding the customer. Which is the right statement? We kept on selling the products which we wanted to sell. Most of the time, in general. Exceptions can be there. But here, we kept on selling which we wanted to sell. So, Pankaj was referring about the number of broking accounts which are less than 1 crore in India. We are talking about SIP, which are 65-70 lakhs into the entire industry. What kind of recurring deposits we have in the industry, do you know? In the banking industry, what number of recurring deposit we will be having? 25 crores. You are very close to that number. The number is 20 crore plus. And that's the number of recurring deposits we are having. Do they invest for a lesser time period than SIPs? No. Do they invest for a lower ticket size than SIP? No. Are those customers are less profitable customers? No. They are many, many more, much, much bigger than what you're trying. So they are selling, or they are buying something which is underlying safety. What are we selling? Underlying risk. So what do they don't come, why they don't come to us? And again, I'm going into the last 3 days, and when I'm talking to those guys, 16 out of those 17 are not investing into mutual fund. One of them has invested into mutual fund once in the last 10 years, and other 15 has never invested into mutual fund. Are you interested to know why they have not invested? We have done so many research on all. I think any research can be conducted in 48 hours. You just keep on asking the same question again and again to anybody you are meeting in the next 48 hours, and you will get the answers. And the answers are very common. When you get those answers, what are you doing with that information? So what is the first or the biggest answer you get? Or why those 15 people have never invested into mutual funds? Why? What is the reason? Okay, they do not know about anything about the mutual fund. The second answer is that nobody has approached them. What time is the mutual fund is available to them? Risky? Okay. So the right answer is, what you're saying is slightly right, or almost right. They think that this is something which is damn risky. This is something which is not for them. This is something which will take their money away. They don't want to touch it. Because they are not ready to believe that we can offer them anything which is other than risk. They cannot believe that we can offer them anything which is other than risk. It is damn risky. The second reason, or the second biggest reason for that is why they don't come to, they think that's too complex. It is very, very difficult to understand. They don't understand it. And I'm telling you, not because of the research which has happened with us and the industry for the last 10 years, it's in the last 2 days. That they think that it's a too complex thing. They are not ready to believe that there is something which can exist in which you can put your money on Friday and take it on Monday. And it is not going to take their money away. They think it can be something, and these are SCCA, educated, working at senior positions, mostly in top 10 cities across India. And that's the level of awareness. What is the third biggest thing? I don't know what I will do if something will go wrong. Who's going to handhold me? And the fourth biggest reason is what? The fourth biggest reason is that my advisor works for himself. He works for himself because whenever he comes, he gives me something which is normally going to suit him, not to suit me. And again, I'm going to quote an example. When Saturday Pankaj was there in our ABFSG conference, I got an email from a senior person that advisor has sent to him that XYZ funds. And they asked me, do you have a cash fund and some other funds? I said, yes, we do have. He again sent me an email that, my advisor has sent me this, that none of the Birla schemes are doing well, and equity and debt. I said, I don't want to get into that whether Birla schemes are doing well or not. I don't have anything with the advisor. But you know what is happening in that process? Why he's checking with me? Why he's trying to check with me? That he think that there is something additional information which might be there. Second, I had recommended to him that why don't you start putting your money into cash funds, which is lying into your bank account, which is being never recommended for. And once that is recommended to him, he said that none of the Birla scheme is doing well. I wrote just 2-line mail. All this information which you are asking from me, whether Birla schemes are doing well or not in cash and equity, is a public information. So the schemes which are recommended to you, you can go and compare our schemes with that, whether they are doing good or bad, on any of the websites, so I don't need to comment on that. And the second thing which I commented on that is that just in relation to that particular schemes or this thing, he is right, they are not doing good, they are outstanding. Now what's happening in that thing? If we really want to give the correct information, not for X and not for Y, because I'm here today talking about mutual fund and the customer may require a complete term plan. Customer may require, so whatever is good for the customer, go and give it to him. He will be there with you. But before acquiring a customer, start serving your customer. Human to human is something which is a much better, stronger proposition than human to product. Because till the time we'll keep on pushing our products, there is a challenge. Most of the time when we go and do our research, and I was watching one of the research on the TV last week, the customer was saying that the moment I tell him about one of my requirement, somebody tells me a product in the first 5 minutes. I get a recommendation of a product. Now, very strong requirement or a very strong need is that if you go and give him the solution for his need, and the moment you go and give him the solution for his need in a manner which is non-threatening, then it will happen. And again, one of my favorite example, and it remains the favorite example, is of onboarding. So, when McDonald's came to India, their image, they were struggling for what? That they are a restaurant for rich people. People go there and spend a lot of money. It's a fine dining, it takes a lot of time. So what did they do? They looked around and understood that we are a snacking company across the world and we are one of the most affordable. then why people are not coming to us? And when they looked around and say, so people are having McDonald's burgers, people are having samosas and aloo tikkis and vada pavs as their snack, and it is available for 10 and 20 rupees. So what did they do? It's a complete sea change into their strategy. So then we saw the commercials which were coming out is what? Mac aloo tikki burger for 20 rupees. So how many times we go with our family to McDonald's and have just aloo tikki burger, and for a family of 5 the bill comes 100 rupees and come out? Has that happened? Anytime? No, then what does it happen? Or why it's that menu is there? Mac aloo tikki burger 25 rupees or 20 rupees. So they go into McDonald's for the 20 rupees, but that's just an onboarding exercise. They don't go for 25 rupees because the kids and the family keeps on buying everything and the per head bill is 100 rupees. But it's a beautiful onboarding exercise. And what has it done? It has broken that myth that McDonald's is a very costly thing. McDonald's is a fine dining restaurant. And today, that is strategy which is driving McDonald's. So which of the other chains have gone into that same mode? Can I name a few? Pizza Hut, Domino's. Everybody has gone like that. And then you saw all the local restaurants started putting hoardings, buffet lunch for 129, 199, 399. What they are trying to do, that we're not that costly. What they're trying to do, we are trying to onboard you. The same thing happens in a mutual fund. When we try to onboard people from the most complex or most riskiest product, it's always tough. When we try to onboard people, and I am telling you that 10 of those 15 people will be our customer next week, with whom I was spending the last 4 days. But they will be our customers in which product of mine? What do you think? That the average age of 40 person who is earning well will become my customer in a week's time just because I am saying trust me for something which he has never bought in the last 40 years? I don't want to start with that. I don't want to push him. So what he's going to start with? He's going to start with an account in cash fund. He's going to start, and all of them are going to start their account in cash fund. What do you think that 1 year down the line, what will be the value of their accounts with us? I'm telling you, it will not be less than 1 crore. It will not be less than 1 crore. And what will be the profile of those customers, the asset allocation pattern of those customers with me 1 year down the line? Definitely not be 100% liquid. It may be a large portion into liquid and some portion into debt and maybe 1 or 2 SIPs. But that's the way it is. So we kept on seeing that graph of 95 versus 5 for the last 15, 18 years, and that has never changed. Because we tried to push as an industry, as a distributor, for something which we wanted to sell. I think this industry will keep on. So not for a second I'm saying that equity is not good. But equity is going to create a lot of wealth. But again, the problem which comes, the same problem which comes to McDonald's. That when I want to sell, I need customer inside my restaurant. If the customer is not getting into restaurant, the example is that somebody is asking me, and one of my friends is really afraid of dogs. And when I was in Delhi, I was having dogs at my place, pet dogs. So his question was, do you have dogs at home? I said, yes. He said, thank you very much. We'll meet outside. I will not come to home. I said, why not? Bola, I'm scared of dogs. I said, no. They are my pet, for 10 years. And, they will not say anything to you. Bola, thank you very much. You have dogs? Thank you very much. I will not come at home. So I said, no, I will lock them in a room. If somebody will open that room. My second was, if they will listen my whistle, they will sit down. On that day, if they will not listen your whistle, then what will happen? So the question is that there is no point trying to convince those people that, I have a dog, but it will not bite you, please come. The first option may be that, no, I don't have a dog at home. You can come. I will not give you a scheme which is bothering you. So some of them, 5% of them, sometimes get convinced, comes to us. But what happens after that is a very different story. Can we start at some place and we will keep on selling the schemes which are very close to our heart or we are over obsessed with? But that over options needs to be controlled for some time till the time he comes within that store.